I think I'm going to title this one Why FanFests Are Awesome. So, if you've been paying attention to some of my recent videos, I've been plugging a FanFest that was coming up. Herb Simmons with SICW. They are an independent wrestling company, territory, whatever you want to call them. They do independent wrestling shows. And they have a fan fest. This is the second one. My buddy and I went to the one last year. They're in St. Louis, the Aviator Hotel in St. Louis. Went last year, had a good time. Went back this year, and to me, had an even better time. So, first of all, we didn't almost die in a storm on the way back, but like we did last year. That one was wild. But so for $45, that's your ticket, and then however you get there, we got a rental car, loaded up an SUV, and got this stuff signed. So I took 6 belts with me total. 5 of them got signed. Greg Valentine wasn't able to attend. I heard Herb Simmons over speaking with somebody that there were travel issues. Like Sergeant Slaughter didn't get in till midnight. Oops. What you're hearing right now is the fridge kicking on behind me for the ice maker. But anyway, yeah. So I had that Mid-Atlantic belt that you saw me review. That one was supposed to go and get signed. It made the trip, but we didn't know Greg didn't make the trip. So that one didn't get signed. But we'll start with this, the stuff that did get signed. So this is David Schultz, probably most famous for slapping the shit out of John Stossel with ABC News. And he was kind enough to sign the book. Here's something to know if you're going to meet David Schultz. He wants you to buy the book from him. I showed up with this and set it down, asked him to sign it, and he made it out to me, and he signed it, and and he said, well, for the cost of the book and the autograph and the picture, it's going to be such. I said, that's my book. I brought the book. He asked me where I got it. I told him the website, and he got kind of upset. He's like, y'all are killing me. What's wrong? He goes, well, they print my book illegally, then sell it, then I don't make a dime off of it. He said, I already signed it. I'll go ahead and take your photo, but he said, I want people to buy the book from me, so I make something off of it. So I get it, but he wasn't too thrilled that he signed a book but from my understanding, I mean, it's done by the same copyright team, or copyright and publisher and all that stuff, printed in the USA. So I don't know, but that's just that. That was meeting David Schultz, which, considering the fact that John Stossel got slapped, I'd say I got off pretty easy. So the next thing, we'll start, and we'll move this chair over so I got a place to set some belts after I talk about them. So this is my premier version of the Dome Globe on a leather Rebels strap. All the bolts covered in the back and everything. That one got signed, as well as my Figures Inc. This is on Mark Maggard leather. This is marked leather. They both got signed by Wildfire Tommy Rich. He was there. Dan Severn, I was supposed to get Dan to sign it too, because Dan technically held the Dome Globe as well. But Dan made a trip to the bathroom, and also, according to his wife, was going to go get something to eat and didn't make it back before my buddy and I decided to leave. So, missed out on meeting Dan Severn, which is sad, but oh well, things happen. We'll get that there so it doesn't move. Okay, so first stop we made when we got in there. This is my F Club VK made SD red logo Intercontinental, and it's a very nice belt. He, like I said when I reviewed it, he stepped up his leather tremendously. It's a very, very soft American feeling leather. He sent me a great strap with this. First stop we made when we got in there, I grabbed this one first because Tito Santana was in town, and I got Tito to sign it. So, very thrilled about that. Tito was the one that Macho Man beat to get the red logo in the first place. 1987, I think. I know Macho had it in 87 because that was WrestleMania 3, him and Steamboat. But I think he either won it in late 86 or early 87. So he signed that one for me. And then this is my Altair HD Winged Eagle. That's my most recent video. But I did take it to the signing, and Sergeant Slaughter was there. So Ad Ease, Maggots, Sergeant Slaughter, Hall of Fame 2004. Sarge signed it. He was cool as can be. Just totally nice guy. So yeah, that was Sarge is a little stiff on his autograph price. If you want him to sign a belt and take a picture, it's $90. Tito, I think, was 40 or 50, I think. And then Tommy Rich was $50 a piece, and he included the photo for free because I had 2 belts. He's I'll just jump in and take the photo with you. I said, okay. So he did. He held one of my Dome Globes, and I held the other. And matter of fact, since I'm on the subject of the Dome Globe, I actually got to meet Justin Race. If you've seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Harley Race, you know that Justin is his son. And Justin was so cool, to meet him. And he's a nice guy, and he actually, while we had already gotten it signed, me and my buddy were standing there, had already gotten signed by Tommy Rich. He said, "Can I see your Dome Globe?" And I had this one on my shoulder. My buddy was carrying the other one. And he goes, "On the original, you notice there's a dent right in here in the globe." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "The way that happened was Ric Flair had the belt in his hand, and he hit my dad in the head with it. And he hit him so hard that Harley's either like eyebrow or cheekbone or something put that dent in the dome on the globe, on the Dome Globe." And Justin told me that the altercation backstage was Harley came up to Rick. He said, "If you ever hit me with that belt that hard again, I'm gonna stick it up your ass." So that was a good story I'd never heard. Is Harley having words with Flair? And I also didn't know that the how the belt got dented. Now there were 2 cases where the globe was dented. One was when Terry Funk had it, and all the black piece here was missing on both sides. And then the other one happened a little bit later on. So this is obviously on the one that's later on. Hang on a second, guys. My allergies are killing me. I got a cough. All right, we're back. Yeah, I said my allergies are messing me up, so I had to cough. Didn't want to do it on camera. But yeah, that was great meeting Justin. The reason why I saved this one for last is this one was more or less the star of the show. So let me get a taste or get a drink of my beer here. So, we get there. This is the NWA tag made by Mateen, made by ELT Belts. And I had a list of people that I wanted to sign it because they had held it. So, Bob Orton, I met Bob. He was also getting inducted in the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. I didn't know. It explains why when we took the picture, he was in a suit. I didn't know that was the case. But anyway, so Randy actually came in and inducted him that night. Then after the Fan Fest was over, they inducted Bob in the Hall of Fame. So that was nice. Him and Kernodle held this belt as well as him and Slaughter. Stan Hansen was supposed to make it, but Stan didn't make it. I'm trying to think who else before I flipped the belt over. The Rock and Roll Express was supposed to be there, but Ricky Morton, his son Kerry, works for the NWA now. And they were booked to be in Texas for an NWA pay-per-view that night. So Ricky did not end up making the Fan Fest. But this is my NWA tag made by Mateen. It is very, very heavy. I'm going to flip it over now and show the autographs. So, while you're there, they have a PA system and they tell you who all is there. Hey, don't forget to meet so-and-so. So-and-so's here. And while we were there, we heard that Dennis Condrey was there. So, that made that even better. So, the autographs that I got, the faded one right here, that's Robert Gibson. They did not give him a very good Sharpie. This one, let's see, Hall of Fame 2005. Bob Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton. The Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. Gerald Briscoe, and then he smeared it. Excuse me, sorry. He smeared it, so what he did was he signed it. He didn't have a silver pen. And so they yelled over at Jimmy Hart's table. And I said, Jimmy, you got a silver pen? And so Jimmy threw what was not a Sharpie. It was some sort of silver pen. Jerry signed it and then said, let me look at this thing, because he hadn't seen the actual belts in 40 something years, right? He wanted to take a look at it. He goes to flip it over, and his hand smeared the autograph before it dried. So, but at least it was done by the man himself, right? It's not like I did it being careless. So, Dennis Condrey, I cannot tell you how much that made my day to see Jerry Briscoe there, who I didn't know was going to be there, and to see Dennis Condrey there. I wish Bobby Eaton was still around. I wish I could have met Bobby as well, and Cornette. I'm a huge Cornette fan. Listen to his podcast every week. But to see Dennis, and I know Dennis can't talk very much. You know, he's had throat cancer. He's got a hole in his throat. But Dennis was so nice. $20 for his autograph, and threw in the picture for free. I got to cough again. Hang on. All right. So, yeah, Dennis threw in the picture for free after doing the autograph. It was funny with Jerry. He can't hear as good as he used to. And so I asked Jerry for an autograph, and he signed it. And I said, all right, how much for a picture? And he told me the price for a picture. He thought I wanted him to sign an 8x10. So he grabs an 8x10 to go sign it. So no. I want you to take a picture. Oh. So, but he lit up seeing it because he hadn't seen the original. Robert Gibson loved it. Dennis was elated to see an old Molkovich tag. But the one that was most touched, I think, was Slaughter. So he signed my Winged Eagle first. And when we took the photo, I said, I'll be back. I said, I got an NWA tag for you to sign, the one that you and Kernodle had. And he goes, he passed away 3 years yesterday, which would have been May 17th. I said, oh, I didn't know that. And so I go back out to the car and get the belt, take the Winged Eagle back, come in with the NWA tag. And Slaughter just looks at it. He goes, let me see it. And he's gawking at it, right? He's looking at it because he goes, this brings back a lot of memories. He's telling the guy that's working at his booth, he goes, this is the one that Don and I had. Because I love this belt. So he signed it. At ease, Sergeant Slaughter, NWA World Tag Team Champion, Hall of Fame 2004. And in the video for this belt, I had mentioned that I was going to get the story of why Rude and Manny left Crockett's territory with the belts. And so I asked Manny, who was sitting there next to Tom Pritchard, he's telling Tom, he's like, yeah, this is the belt I had with Rude. And then he's got a photo of him and Rude together, where Rude, you can see Rude has the belt over his shoulder. So he's pointing at the photo. He had this belt right here. You can see it in the photo. I said, yeah. I said, hey, Manny, I said, I got to ask you. I said, what made you leave Crockett's territory with the belts? I said, was it like a payoff? Was it money? Was it they wanted you to drop them and you didn't want to? Or what was the deal? And he said, we had a blow up with Dusty. We told Dusty to fuck off. And basically what it was that Dusty didn't like the fact that, according to Manny and Rude were more over than the Road Warriors and the Rock and Roll Express at that time, which is why they had the tag belts. Dusty didn't like that. Dusty probably wanted to job them out to one of those two teams, and they told Dusty to go fuck himself or to fuck off or whatever, and they kept the belts. And he said Rude had an opportunity to go up to New York. He asked me, did I care? I said, no, if you got a chance to go work for Vince, go work for Vince. So that's when Rick Rude went up to WWF, and Manny went and did his own thing. I did ask him. He does believe that Rick Rude is buried with his NWA tag. And I asked him where his is at. He said, I don't know. He said, it got stolen from me. I said, well, I know who has it now. Let me backtrack. I did not rat somebody out intentionally. But I said, I know who has yours. And he goes, who? He goes, I said, Dan Lambert has yours. He goes, who? Well, I think it's funny. He doesn't know who Dan Lambert is. But I said, Dan Lambert. I said, he's a wrestling manager. He goes, oh. He goes, yeah, it got stolen from me. And that's the first time I found out it had been stolen. I thought he had sold it, whatever. But according to Manny, his belt had gotten stolen. So the one Dan Lambert has is stolen property. Dan could have bought it not knowing that. It could have been, Dan could have bought it 10 years ago. He could have bought it, 10 months ago. Who knows? But I'm betting that Dan did not know that Manny's belt was allegedly stolen. But yeah, so that's where Manny's original belt is now. But Manny was a nice guy, took the photo for free. This is why I tell you guys, though, go to these fan fests. Go meet these people, because you get these interactions, you get these stories. You know, like I got the story last year from Teddy Long, who Teddy was there this year as well, about leaving Ron Simmons on the side of the highway in the middle of a blizzard, because he didn't realize that Ron had gotten out to take a piss alongside Bradshaw. He only thought Bradshaw got out of the car. And when Bradshaw got back in, he put the car in drive and took off, and they were in the middle of a blizzard, and they make it about 100 feet down the road, and John goes, Teddy, he goes, that ain't funny. He goes, what? What are you talking about? He goes, leaving Ron like that. What are you talking about? I didn't leave Ron. He goes, look back in the back seat. Where's Ron? That's when he realized Ron had stepped out of the car. I said, did you go up to the next exit and come back, or did you put it in reverse? I put it in reverse. He said, he said the exits are so few and far between where we were at. He said it was just faster just to put it in reverse and back up on the shoulder of the road. And I guess John had to play peacemaker and keep Ron from killing Teddy Long. I got that story last year, and I also got the story about Dick Slater and Macho Man down in Atlanta, because Teddy lived in Atlanta, asked him where to go get some weed. And they get in the drug dealer's car. They went to the bad part of Atlanta. I don't know if they went to the Bluff or where they went, but they went some part in Atlanta where they knew they could score some weed. And Macho Man seated behind the driver, and Slater's in the passenger seat making the deal on the weed. And the driver, the dealer, goes, I got some other stuff too. And he pulls out of his pocket, pulls out some Coke. Randy saw that Coke, and next thing you know, he slaps a sleeper hold on the drug dealer and knocks him out. They take his drugs and they leave. Because what's the drug dealer going to do? Call the cops and say that, hey, these guys robbed me for my drugs? So they just left the guy in the car unconscious and took his drugs and left. I got that story from Teddy last year too. So, and I got to chat with Bill Apter this year. We were waiting on Dan Severn to come back, and Bill was sitting next to Dan Severn's wife. And I asked Bill, I said, how did you come to own Andy Kaufman's neck brace? And he goes, oh, he said, I was in New York after the Letterman episode with Lawler and Kaufman, and they were at the hotel afterwards. And I said something about how valuable that neck brace is going to be, and Bill said that to Andy. Andy goes, here, just have it. So Andy just gave him his neck brace, and then when WWE's Most Wanted Treasures called Bill to see if he still had it, he goes, I think it's in a box somewhere. I have to double check. But yeah, you get these stories, you get these experiences of meeting people for $45 plus whatever you spend at everybody's booth for a picture and autograph. That always varies. But to me, it's well worth it just to get the stories and to say you met somebody, and you get autographs put on your belt, and it increases the value somewhat, not crazy, unless you're like, you got a belt, you got a signature of Kerry Von Erich, or you got a signature from Nature Boy Buddy Rogers or Lou Thez. Okay, that might really up the value, because I imagine there's not a lot of signatures from those guys, because they didn't have long careers in the case of Kerry, or they had a long career in the case of Thez, but autograph signing wasn't really a thing. Replica belts weren't really a thing. It just, so it depends on whose signature it is, really boost your value. But I don't do it for that. If I had to sell any of these belts, it's because I've fallen on some hard times. It's not because I want to get rid of them. So what I want you to take away from this, always opt in for the fan fest. Go meet these people, because I would love to go meet Dusty Rhodes. I'd love to go meet Roddy Piper. I'd love to go meet Macho Man, or, just fill in the blank, Scott Hall. Can't do it. So anyway, I will be back with some more belt videos. Hopefully relatively soon. I got 2 belts in the works. I've seen updates on one. I haven't seen any updates on the other. I think he's trying to get the artwork right. I think it's not a conventional run-of-the-mill belt. It's an interpretation or a take on a really well-known belt, and done in a way that I want it. So he's taking a little bit of time on that. But when those belts come in, that will be probably the next videos you see. Until then, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.